the reason we came together is we've been working on a collaboration for Stardust Being Human. And it's called that because I feel sometimes that we feel like we're more starseed or we're more cosmic than we are human, and we find the human experience much more difficult to navigate. And I liked it when Alicia said she's the guide for the children who are also probably starseeds, and she guides them to their human existence. Even though the energy is there, I guess with children, she's not turning the energy off. She's helping them integrate it into their human experience, as if they've come with that energy already. And many of us as adults came with that energy as a child. But we got told, don't do that, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that, and then we turned it off. But then that makes us feel lonely. So by nurturing that and teaching them how to use that in their everyday life, that's why we called our series Stardust Being Human. And the first offering we have came about because we were looking at how the whole of society has penalized these skills as being irrelevant, not tangible, not logical. And that's without being burned at the stake as a witch and being at the fall of Atlantis and whether it exists or not. All these memories and dreams that we might have had have been ridiculed to a certain degree. So many of us are afraid to step into these gifts and to use them, and they are so powerful. If you do step into them, they're so powerful. Look at Alicia's family and how that works together because of these gifts. Now, if others could use these gifts too, then obviously that makes the whole society better. So we realized that each of us wanted people to utilize these gifts more and advance their lives with it, but the fear and the negative aspects that we've been seeing about being burned at the stake as a witch or any other negative, foolish kind of ridicule that you might have had is enough to hold us back and stop us moving forward in that. And I think as we talked about thought leaders and sensitives becoming more stepping into their roles because we are about to create something new, not fit into the old, then you need to be able to stand there and quite proudly announce, I speak light language over the dinner table with my friends, or I walk and I talk to trees, or I like when I need to calm and relax myself, go and hang out with the trees, and make this normal talk for everyone, because that's how we're going to do the changes. And yet the people with these skills are the shyest. So as part of the work we were doing as well, we noticed that there's this theme that you don't get paid for this kind of work because it's not valued. And money is value, but we get this feeling that we don't get paid for it, which means therefore it's not important and it's not valued and we shouldn't develop it. So part of our series is all about adding the value back into this, removing all of these old contracts, any old memories, even like destruction, when we're all told that destruction's a bad thing, and yet it's a necessary part. You know, the Phoenix stories, all these other stories is death and then rebirth. And yet destruction gives us this feeling that it's not the right thing to be doing. So imagine if you could get rid of that programming. Imagine you could get rid of your fear of using these skills. Imagine you could be like Alicia and her family every day, not just with your family, but with people you meet on the street, with your boss, with your colleagues. Then imagine what sort of community we can create. And yet there are so many mindset issues to remove. So say the first one we're working on is, we're calling it beating yourself up. But really we did it because we sometimes penalize ourselves and self-sabotage ourselves and are afraid of making mistakes because of these old contracts. So the first workshop is all aimed at removing those, of re-empowering you and putting you back into control over you and what you want to achieve in life, but by allowing you to be yourself and to allow these other energies to bubble up. But the other aspect we noticed was people don't get, because they don't value it, they don't get paid for it. So abundance and spiritual work don't seem to come related. We're often told that in fact spiritual work should be free and it shouldn't be paid, but look at the skills we're discussing today. You know, you wouldn't go into an office and tell a project manager that just because he's naturally good at being a project manager, that they shouldn't get paid at it. And yet half of them are probably using intuition that makes them more valuable than if they were just normal project managers. So we need to be able to bring those skills as valuable aspects and be paid for it. So this very first one was about removing all the contracts to allow us to step more into ourselves so we could finally get paid for the value of what we're worth based on our unique frequency. And that's why we've got our first series called Spiritual Liberation from Beating Yourself Up. So if that sounds interesting to you, we've got a workshop on the 11th of December at 3 p.m. GMT and 10 a.m. BST. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, EST. It's the AM, PM, BST, yeah. So EST, so Eastern Time, 10 a.m., 3 p.m. on British time. And it's a 4.5-hour workshop, so we've got a lot to cover in that time, but we are really looking at all the times that you felt like you had to over-deliver to get your value recognized, all the times that you felt you couldn't make a mistake because people wouldn't value you, all the times that you felt that you couldn't make any destruction because that would be not a good value. We remove all of these contracts and vows, and we then work them into a new truth for you so that you can embody it completely, and then we weave it into your future. And people who have done this have turned around and said that they're now able to take more risks, they're more willing to try things they might not have before, but they're also showing themselves as using more of their skills, their spiritual skills, and playing with them more, so they're less fearful of it or fearful of being seen using them. So we really recommend this workshop. The price at the moment until the 30th, which is Wednesday, I think, of November, is £111. This is an early bird price. And I should point out that this is only for this year, because as we're launching it, next year we're going to be putting it up to £444. And that will be the price because it's growing. We're adding more and more sections onto it to clear out as much of this old history as we possibly can in one go. And even though it sounds like 4.5 hours might feel a long time, we go through 3 sections with breaks. It clears breakout rooms. You have some one-on-one time as well. So I really recommend it. And if you don't get your ticket by Wednesday, then the price goes up to £144. But as I say, that's only for the end of this year, because we're also working on our value and valuing our spiritual gifts that have been given to us. And the whole map of what we do through this day was gifted to us through one of our soul journeys, and we have to respect that and value that, which is why the prices will go up next year. So please, we'd love to see you on that, because we want that to be the enabler to get you out there to experience soul-to-soul connections, to get onto your soul mission, and to help with your physical vitality, which is what Ava will be speaking about next week. So we'll have a third part to our Trine Wave, I guess. So did I miss anything? Did I cover everything there?
You did. Everything was good for me.
Prices, date, 11th of December, guys. So yeah, please get your ticket as soon as possible, and get in touch if you need to talk to us and ask us any questions.